I built this smoker the year I turned 40. I'm about to smoke some Boston butt roasts. I got a good fire going here. When you're smoking meat, you want to use hardwood, and you want to use a wood that's either produces fruit or nuts. Some sweet wood, like sugar maple, is really good because, you know, it's a sweet wood. But you need to use hardwood. Today we're using peach, apple, and hickory wood mixed. Just native wood. Limbs that have actually fallen off of trees have been trimmed off here. We got to open this smoker up. I built this thing the year I turned 40. I'm 62, so I've been cooking on this for 22 years. I got a little winch here. Crank up the lid here. This metal for this lid was actually given to me by a friend of mine. Rodney Carroll gave me that metal. And this is the smoker. You see the smoke barreling out. There's the grate inside the grill. All right, the way this smoker works, you notice you don't see the fire. There's a steel plate that protects the meat from burning. And so the fire's on that end, and the fire comes this way under the steel, and then it comes up on this end, and then it goes across the meat like a convection oven, and it goes out the chimney. So it makes your smoker cook a lot faster. So the smoke's coming up on this end, and it's going to come back across the meat once I put the meat on the cooker. Now we dry rub this pork. And I use Cajun seasoning to dry rub the pork with. And this is the best for barbecue. It's the shoulder roast of the pig. It's called the Boston butt roast. On a pig, you have a ham in the shoulder. Did you know that? The ham in a pig shoulder is called a picnic ham. All right, to dry rub this pork is very simple. We put it in a pan so we don't lose so much spice, because we could use some of that on the next one. And we just rub it on, right? Just very simple. Rub the spices on every side. Very good. And we just use Cajun seasoning. This gives it a really good flavor. Now we're going to smoke this till it's golden brown. We're going to lay that right in on the grill. There we go. And we're going to cut open another one. Now the Boston butt is of course the pig shoulder roast, and the reason I like it for barbecue, it has the right amount of fat to meat ratio for good barbecue. Now it's also very easy to tell when your barbecue is perfectly done, because the shoulder blade, which is inside, will slide right out, and we'll see that a little later. When this barbecue is perfectly done, the shoulder will slide right out of there. So there we got another one all seasoned up. We're gonna lay that right on the cooker. It's called dry rub. You just rub it on there dry. This is all you have to do for cooking the best pork barbecue. Of course, you have to have a great smoker. This smoker works like a dream. And it's just made with the local rocks here. You can see this is rock fieldstone that came right from my yard here. We built a block frame, a concrete block frame, and then we put the rock over it. One more. I'm cooking barbecue for my brother's wedding. My brother's getting married, 70 years old, decided to get married for the second time. His wife had passed away a few years ago, so anyway, he said he wanted some pork barbecue for his wedding. And that's my specialty. I love to cook Boston butt roast pork barbecue. So I fired up the cooker today. I got to take this barbecue 1,000 miles to this wedding. So I'm going to feed his guests some good old Southern barbecue, Alabama barbecue. There we go. That was simple enough, wasn't it? Now we're going to cook this until it's golden brown. About an hour, hour and a half on this smoker. We're going to cook this right on the grill. After an hour and a half, you see that smoke's really barreling now. Whew. After about an hour, hour and a half, we're going to put each one of these Boston butts in one of these pans, and we're going to cover it with foil, and we're going to set that back in the cooker for the last hour and a half until that bone is ready to slide right out. And that way it won't dry out, and it's going to cook the last hour and a half in its own juices. But for the first hour and a half, it needs to get the smell of that smoke. So that's why it's on the grill here, and we're cooking it just like this, right? I got my hands dry rubbed real good too. I'll wash them off in just a minute, but I'm going to lower this door back down on the cooker. Smells fantastic. smells fantastic. What do you think of that cooker? 4 feet by 8 feet. You can fit a lot of food on there. Sometimes I use these grates right here to put salmon on, to set salmon inside the cooker. All right. Whoa. So now she's starting to smoke. You see the smoke coming out the chimney there? The smoke's going across here. It's coming across. That's grilling out the chimney. In about an hour and a half, we're going to have beautiful golden brown Boston butts roast. Let's take a look at that fire one more time. The fire's cooking just perfect. You can't have to worry about burning your meat with this bad boy because oh yeah, look at that. They've gotten good and golden brown. What we need to do now is to put these Boston butts in these pans and cover them so they can cook in their own juice. Now that we've got them good and brown and seared on the outside from this heat, you see this smoker is extremely hot. You can see the grease dripping off of the Boston butts. It's hitting the steel plate underneath. It's just a sizzling, right? So we got to pick these off of there and put them in that pan. I'm going to open it up just a little bit more. I'm going to let the air hit that meat just another minute. Whoa! Broke my cable. That cable's been working for a long time. I put that cable on there when I built this smoker the year I turned 40. So that cable's been raising this lid for 22 years and she just shattered. Wow. Time to find something and lift it by hand. It knocked my pans all over the place here. Wow. Hey, you know, making memories. Let me tell you something about something. The day that nothing goes wrong, that day will never be remembered. The day the cable breaks when you're cranking up your smoker, that day will never be forgotten. When you take up the rocking chair, the things in life you've overcome are what make up your memories. The day nothing goes wrong will never be remembered. The day your smoker cable breaks, kaboom, and your lid slams, you'll never forget it. Making memories, baby. Let's see what I've got here. This is a rack. This rack is a special rack. This is for putting whole hogs on. Sometimes we smoke a whole pig, and when we smoke a whole pig, we use this rack. So what I'm going to do is move my pans out of the way. Let me see how hot this lid is. It's almost untouchable. Let's go over to the truck and get some gloves. Always keep some gloves in the old service truck. Pick this lid up and prop it up. Wow, because we got to get that meat in some pans and get that covered, then I can have time to fix that cable. All right, so we're going to get us some foil here. Woo. I can handle that meat with these gloves, but I better put a little foil over the meat so I don't touch it with the gloves. You don't want to touch that good cooked meat with your gloves on. My gloves aren't real super clean here, you know. I'm not the only one eating this barbecue. And so, we'll get us a piece of foil here. Let's just get us 4 pieces of foil. So we're completely ready. This is heavy duty foil. That's the way to go. Don't use the cheap stuff, get the heavy duty stuff. All right. Heavy duty foil, we got my daughter Brooklyn's calling me right now. I better call her back in just a second as soon as I get this meat in there. All right. Yeah, pick that Boston butt roast up just like that. Look at that. How beautiful. Put it right in the pan. And we'll turn this foil around here. We're going to seal this thing up. Beautiful. Piece of foil number 2. Wow, look how beautiful that is, huh? Now this pan we used earlier to season the Boston butts, but we just rinse that out. We reuse the pan. It's got a little bit of Cajun seasoning in it. Now we're gonna close these up. Once we cap these things up, sealed up like this, they're gonna simmer in their own juice. And when we open these back up, there's gonna be like a half inch or an inch deep of pork juice in there that this has been simmering in. And the shoulder blade will slip right out. Of course, this is the Boston butt roast. And the Boston butt is the, it's the pig shoulder. So there's a shoulder blade in there. And when that shoulder blade slips out, it's perfectly done. My daughter's calling me again, so I gotta have to take that call. But let me get these last of this Boston butt put in here. Wow. See how slick that works? Wow, like I told you, this smoker is very, very hot. Very hot. I built this the year I turned 40. I'm 62. Been cooking on it for 22 years. These have only been in here for about an hour and a half. And look how they've cooked. You see there's a steel plate here that protects your meat from the fire. And that steel plate goes all the way across over here. Then the heat comes up on this side. It comes back across the grill. Works like a convection oven. So it smokes super fast. And these Boston butt roasts will just fall apart. Here in another hour and a half or so, they'll be done. They'll just fall apart. Set this right back in here. Wow. Okay. You see the fire's right here. Normally you can't cook with that kind of a fire when you're smoking meat, but with this smoker here, we can't burn anything, and we can get it hot, really hot. I mean, I've made a turkey fall off the bone in an hour and a half in this bad boy. So I'm gonna take this out of the way here, this rack out of the way, and toss that. I'm gonna set this down until I get a new cable on there. Anyway, whew, the Boston butt roasts are cooking. They'll be done soon. Well, we got the perfect fire going on in here. See how our fire's looking? Wow, nice, nice. We're gonna open this smoker up. We broke our cable a while ago and had to splice the cable, so hopefully we'll get her to crank again. Then we covered them. Now they're in the pan here. Cooking, been cooking for a little while. I'm gonna open this up. Oh, look at that. See that juice in there? Woohoo! There's a shoulder blade inside of a Boston butt right here, you know. When that shoulder blade slips out, they're done. This is not quite done. This has got to cook a little bit more. There's going to need about, there'll be about a half inch of juice in there when this thing is cooked just right. But you can see how good it's cooking. It's steaming in here. We smoked it out on the grill for an hour and a half till it got golden. And then we covered them in these pans. And we're just checking on them here. We're going to put this back in here. Oh yeah. We're going to add a little wood to this. Go over here to the wood pile. Get a couple pieces of wood. And be careful picking up this wood. I've picked up an occasional scorpion, black widow spider. They like the wood pile too. There we go. Now we'll let that lid back down, and we'll come back and check this in a little bit. All right, we got the Boston butt out of the smoker. Look at this, falling apart. perfect fat and meat ratio with a Boston butt. So it makes the best pork barbecue. Look at the juice in this pan after cooking it like this. Here's the shoulder blade bone that slips right out when the Boston butt roast is completely done perfectly. It's the shoulder, the Boston butt. Although it says butt, it's the shoulder of a pig. Let's chop this first part right here. When you chop the barbecue, just chop it. Mix everything together. The outside brown crust with the fat and with the meat makes for the perfect chopped barbecue. Wow. And you can sauce that barbecue to taste. I don't know what kind of barbecue sauce you like. I like a sweet sauce. My wife likes a vinegar sauce. Look at the juice in that pan.